Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Badge Wild. And once again, we are back with our build stream, part 8. I have all that fixed, so I'm not making that mistake again where I do multiple streams and I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is not the right stream. Anyway, before I start falling into early stage Alzheimer's and forgetting my streams, welcome. Welcome all of you that are have always been here, and also welcome to the new people coming in because we are now sitting here being able to make a brand new ship. We are actually taking an old concept and upgrading it from the ground up, known as my F-302. So for the new people that have come in today, we are taking one of the ships that I had built a long time ago and based a lot of this off Venoms from Captain Jack's series. He built the F-302 for Captain Jack, and I wanted a F-302, but I didn't want to just rip off his. So some of the placement of the engines and everything was in here, the very older model, until I started building some of my own fighters. And this led to a different type of ship doctrine, which has now come up to the ship doctrine we have now with this new F-302, which is better, has a much better looking nose, more firepower, more boom, uh, more dopamine when you take this thing and go smack another ship with it and make it hurt. This bad boy is sporting up to 3 main hydrogen engines with about 6 cruising ion thrusters. It is supposed to be a carrier based ship, so it can get from point A to point B, and it can do all sorts of just wicked little things as it's going in. It's fast. It can zip right in, hit the target, and we have been working with the missiles. Now the missiles have been taking a couple streams to get perfectly right, and finally I just broke down because I don't have the experience with missiles enough to know what I'm doing half the time. And so I had a friend of the channel who's been reviewed a lot of his stuff, and we got together. Y'all know him as Grexion. Both of us got together, I think on Saturday or Sunday, we got together and I said, screw it. I need help with this. I need help with the missiles. I don't know what I'm doing. And Grexion came in, gave off some great ideas, showed off a lot of his builds. Not, he didn't show anything off as a vain thing. He was showing off how he made his missiles and how he made the stuff to work. And going through his everything that he had mentioned, he came up with some pretty cool, or threw some pretty cool ideas out there that after I've had time to sit down and think about it and sleep on them, an idea has occurred to me. Uh, with the system that he has employed, in other words, he has come up with a much better way of dropping the missiles out of the system than relying on just a timer block. This will rely on 2 separate systems, and all we will have to do is turn off the system that we have now, and it will solve the printing issue where I have to go in and realign all the missiles. This will just solve all of that. So I can hook up all the missiles to one hookup system. I will then be able to drop a single missile, and the missile itself will trigger itself and go on. And he explained this. He did this in such a way that I feel really stupid after he explained how he did it. The one key factor that has been defeating us, it turns out it was in Space Engineers all along. And that stupid button that, oh, what is this? Everything has been updated. We have an update I didn't know about because everything is plussed now. Why do we have pluses on everything? Have they added something? Everything seems new. That's weird. Anyway, the block we're going to need is this, the sensor block. And I completely missed the fact that they had updated. Normally, when the sensor block would activate, you'd have like a couple of functions that you could do. This has all the same functionality as a timer block. So with this, we can create a missile that I don't have to rely on the system to figure out. I can actually just drop the missile, and the sensor block will simply sense when it is detached. And once it senses that it's not there by the ship, then it will activate the timer block, which will have the time in which it will activate. And then that timer block can then activate everything else that is active. So it will turn on all of the systems. The hydrogen fuel tank will then activate. And once that activates, the missile will go into target acquisition mode and it will take off and go kill. It will kill on its own. The best part about this is because we're relying on the sensor block will be attached to the missile. Let me put a block on here. Nope, I'm dancing. Hang on. Pull our tab button up here so I can get a block here. So because the mechanism won't be up here, before we were disconnecting from here and trying to reconnect everything or trying to activate one of the timer blocks that's up here in the front of the missile. Instead, we're going to put a sensor here that will detect this merge block. Once this reaches a certain point downward where it's no longer detecting the merge block, then the timer block will engage. I think after doing that, I might be able to use gravity to launch these missiles afterward. If that's possible, then what I put on this ship, all I will need is some finagling on another ship with a gravity booster to then launch the ship outward. The other thing also comes down to I don't know how I would do ship-borne or station-borne missiles. That may require a different missile system, but what I would love to do is have this missile design that we have down here and somehow configure it into a multi-purpose missile. I don't know how to do that. And that may require the addition eventually of some type of system. It may also require me to add to the timer block system to where when the sensor, it'll just require like adding to the sensor system saying as soon as the sensor no longer detects something, that the missile will just automatically activate and then takes off and does what it's supposed to do. So this means that we would have a missile that with just clicking one function and sending it the other direction, or just changing one thing, such as when the the first timer block engages, which will turn all the systems on. We will have a missile system that we can attach to anything. I can have it based on ground targets. We can base it on the ground. We can base it on ships. We can base it on aircraft, vehicles, fighters, bombers, whatever. We are basically creating the Mako. For those of you that don't are trying to figure out what I'm saying here, we're basically building the United States' new hypersonic Mako missile in terms of functionality. It's one missile that we can attach to anything, and it will kill anything, uh, or have the potential to. So we're able to send something out there. Let me check the comments here, because I think Marty's in the comments. So it's Marty. That's why the Sigma Draconis server was acting up today. Sensor event controller like I used, potato, potato. Yes, yes, yes. This is what we're doing. We're going to use the sensor. Like I said, we're just going to attach one to the side of it, and we'll have to set up a sensor system, and that'll also require me to program this while it is on here. So we're going to need not only a sensor, we're also going to need another button on the other side for me to access the missile with so that we can then control the missile and figure out what it's going to do and how it's going to operate. So we'll have to add an access panel. It just means we're going to add a few meager upgrades to the missile system. So first off, we've got to take the missiles on this thing and get rid of them. Number one. So we're going to do a bomb run. Ooh, wait a minute. We have everything hooked up? No, we do not. Let's go ahead and turn all that on. So the blocks that we have here are set up specifically, and these are set up in foxes. We will be resetting this to the actual system. So I get in within 2.5 kilometers, we can drop Fox 1, for those of you that are watching. And you see Fox 1 takes off, Fox 2 takes off and beeps. And then we're going to fire off Fox 3. Oh, Fox 3 is actually going to turn on its system. And then we need Fox 4. Fox 4 is doing its thing. There must have been a hiccup in the system. So you can see here we can print more new missiles, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to sit here and just watch as the Makos go down there, or Mako Mark 1s. They're going to go down and hit. Then we're going to be doing, actually, it's not even Mark 1. It's probably like our Mark 7 or something to that effect. Mark 45, that's what I'm going to call this because I have no idea. One event controller to start launch sequence with the front thruster off. A second, which both turns on that thruster and activates the offensive AI block. Hey, can't stay. Going to watch later. Okay, Imperial Scout Troop, that's fine. To Marty, no. Using two event controllers, that kind of works out, but you can actually add a whole lot more functionality with the two timer blocks and a sensor. Grexion came on and showed me this, and when he showed me how his missiles worked, it was like everything clicked. I was like, "Oh wow, I don't need an event. I don't need an event controller unless it's necessary if I want to build like a new missile system or not." So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build it, and this is only going to require a small, simple upgrade. And once this upgrade is done, we're going to be rocking and rolling. We're going to be putting warheads on foreheads like the United States. And there's going to be war crimes galore. So, yeah, there's going to be war crimes like you wouldn't believe after this is over with. We're adding, as I said in the Helldivers thing when I activated Black Flag Protocol, we were to convert the the Super Geneva war crimes list into a checklist, and then also put a caption at the bottom that says, "And you can help by expanding it." So we fully expect when Black Flag Protocol is done in the Late Nighters core, the Late Nighters Helldivers core, it is fully intended that you guys are going to make new war crimes for Super Geneva to put down. We expect you to be fighting whatever menace you're doing, killing it maliciously, and have a member of the Super Geneva sitting there taking notes the whole time as we're blowing stuff up. Somebody who's really good with art, please put that into our into the Discord because I would love to see that picture, and I will put it up on the channel if you guys will do that. So we're going to delete these missiles, obviously, and we're not going to need. The cool part about this system is we're not going to need to determine what missile is which because once this missile is disengaged, its systems will self-activate. It's kind of like a fire forget system. Why do you say that? That's how I made the closest thing to a fire and forget. You basically mad dog it within 2,500 meters. It locks the first thing red it sees. Yeah. So the way the Mako, I'm not even sure we're going to call this the Mako. I'm just referring to it because that's how it's operating. I may call this the Long Fang before it's over with because it is probably the best weapon we've got at a first strike capability in server. Mm. We can fire one of these things off and it will smack an illuminate ship like crazy. Also, Grexion actually was talking to me. I think I know what the ship is. I may be reviewing a ship of his before long that can actually take on the Illuminate warship, or not the Illuminate. Frick, I'm getting sci-fi's mixed up. He actually has a ship that can go toe to toe with the Factorum battleship and come out on top with no missile systems. It just basically you're going to have to be a good pilot, like he said. He said you have to be a good pilot operating, but most of us are pretty decent pilots and space engineers. Let's be frank. Uh, I mean, we can all probably outfly the Factorum pretty easily. He said if you can outfly the Factorum, the ship's offensive systems can basically take care of the Factorum warship. It pretty much just goes in and says, yeah, I don't care about your Factorum bull crap. Here's a couple of assault cannon rounds. Deal with it. So what we're gonna do here is we have to put a system here. We're gonna do some testing because I want to try and do this with just one sensor block, but we are also going to add a control switch so that we can actually access everything. I kind of want to put it somewhere where I can actually get a hold of it and I can manipulate the entire system just in case we have this issue later. And apparently I did not put the sensor block down here. So we're going to grab the sensor block since I've been a complete idiot today. And there we go. So the way the sensor block is going to work, it is going to simply give us, I'm trying to figure out, okay, yeah, this is how the sensor goes. There it is, up there. And can I access this itself? Because if I can just, oh yes, I can access that myself. So we'll just put two sensors on either side and we'll just be done with it. There's no reason not to do this. So now, second thing I need to do, let's show sensor field range, number 2. And, all right, let's go inside here and see what we can do with this thing. So we got both of them. I'm looking at the sensor and I'm not seeing the field at all, which is a bummer. Let's see if I can make the field pop up here a little bit. Nothing is extending. I have this on, do I not? Okay, yeah, we've got sensor field range. That should work. Okay. Maybe it's because I tried to move both of them. Let's grab both of them just in case. We'll see if we can. Back here. Look, I'm not seeing the frickin' range. Unless, is the power on? There's a question. Battery's on. So the sensor should be working. Wait. Ah, there we go. So that was the problem. We had to make everything show up on the HUD. So let's see what we did just now. Okay, all right, yeah. That was not what we wanted to do. So let's go ahead and bring that back down. In fact, let's bring both of them back down. Like so. Let's pull that. Pull that back up. And back in like so. That in, and then the top extend. Bring that down to there. Let's see what that looks like. So I've got that there going. I need this to come over so that when it drops off just slightly, we need to take that back section. So let's go to the back. There we go. And that should do it for the missile sensor system. Now, what should happen if I look in here and I set up actions, oh, we've got two of these here. So what can happen now is the automation sensor can now activate both systems at the same time, meaning we can activate both timer blocks simultaneously. It also means that I can put one timer block to a different time frame and a second timer block to a different time frame, which means with the Mako, if I can, or the Longfang, whatever I'm going to call this, if I activate this thing, it will automatically engage the moment it is past this system. The trick to launching this thing from a ship is going to be if I can add a gravity drive or gravity system to the front of the ship where the missiles are at. And if that can have enough ability to lift the missile out of the bay as it's flying, that will enable the missile to automatically launch without any real effect. With the other system, launching it from like a truck or something like that, which we'll have to come up with later, it should be able to activate once it falls off. I can just have that trigger both systems simultaneously. So with this one, we are going to grab automation timer block one. We're going to tell it to trigger. And we'll hop out of that one. The second one, we're going to have automation timer block Fox 4. And we're going to have it trigger immediately. Now then, that should trigger it. Slot 2 trigger when no longer detecting. Okay, so we need to move this here. And I need to set it to start. And then we need to go back to the other one. Remove it and set it to start. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take both automation timer blocks and we're going to set the delay to about 1 second for both of them. And now I just got to set up actions. So first one is going to arm everything but this. We can actually remove these two from the taskbar. We can remove that as well. So we can actually turn on this, arm both warheads. What else do we want to activate? There's a lot of, we could turn a whole bunch of stuff on right now. We can turn all that stuff on. I could also, if I really wanted, actually, I'll tell you another thing we could do. We could move that sensor spot down low so that when it activates, it turns on everything, but then adds like a really, like a thrust to it so it takes off. And then have the other one just start jacking the thrust up until it hits like max. Let's see what we got going on here. Who's watching right now? Actually, you would need the AI block activated. I accidentally instructed you to make one of the first mistakes I made. That's okay, Marty. That's okay. That's why I'm trying to blueprint this thing out. So if I ever have to mess with it, I can go back to it. Renegade Bundy, hello. How you doing? So yeah, for Renegade Bundy, we are basically building a missile, and Grexion helped me out with this thing and showed me how we could build this thing in such a way that worked. I think what I want to do is I want, see, I already got everything activated because the sensors are going to activate the missile system pretty much. Um, and I got to figure out, I've got to look at both the missiles and figure out how they're going to activate. Actually, I'll tell you what we could do. Oh, if I turn off the battery, it's not going to detect anything. So that's an issue. What we'll do, since that's everything that needs to be done, we're going to have it because I can actually have the thrusters turned on. I want to give it, I could give it some extra oomph, but there's really no reason to do that because with the hydrogen tank on stockpile, and when you turn that off, that's going to activate everything. So I really only need one timer block for this thing. That's wild. I actually solved multiple problems right there with a single, with just a sensor. Holy crap. And by having the stockpile system on the thrusters are automatically turned off, there's no reason to have a system for thrusters unless I just want to launch a frickin' missile. Pretty good. Just set up my new face cam for streaming. All right, Renegade Bundy's doing streaming now. We got to go check him out. Put a link in the description or put a link in the comments, man. We'll check out your channel. Grexion, my missiletism was tingling, so Badger must be working on the missiles again. Yes, hopefully we will get these things to work. That's the plan, at least. So if I'm controlling it with this, I wonder if I need the second timer block. And if I don't need the second timer block, we could do a, let's see if that works without the timer block. We're going to go into the setup actions and I'm going to turn off all these other systems because we don't need them. They're all going to be activated by the two sensors. I will need to turn on. Let's go back to the other timer blocks. I just realized something. We are going to need to turn on the gyroscope. Toggle block on. So far it is off. Everything that needs to come on should come on. We've kind of locked it down to 4 systems. Let's see what happens. Okay. So, let me check custom data here. Nothing there. So if it doesn't detect anything up here, that should be what I need done. Um, okay, we'll have to turn on detect small ships, but we'll do that after we connect this thing to a frigging ship because I don't want it like turning on right now. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't want to lose all the progress here. What the heck am I thinking? Grab this. We'll head on over to the okay, that should be on the bar there. There we go. Now then, here comes the fun part. Because I need to find okay, there's our warheads. Where is my there's a small merge block. Where's oh yeah, I enabled these as foxes. So which okay, where'd you go? Where'd it go? Let's just do this. Blah. Wait a minute. Oh. Huh. So All right, this is Fox 2 merge block right here. I don't know which one. Let's see. That one's on. So if it's here, it's got to be one of these two. I don't know which one it is. Uh, hmm. Let's hop out here and do the old grinder trick. Because that's the only way I'm going to find this thing at this rate. Number two. There we go. Now we grind that one down. It should disappear. And I should be able to. Okay, so it's Fox 2 apparently. Why I couldn't find that before? That's Fox 2. So what's the other one? Oh, that's interesting. Let's there should be four merge blocks on this thing. Or no, there should be six merge blocks, but I can't figure out why I've got three on one side and not four. If that's Fox 1 or Fox 2, and I go up here and I look and I can't find. See, there's Fox 2 and everything else, but I can't find the other stuff. Where's the other crap at? Did I make it disappear? Let's see. Let's look up Fox. No. Hmm. That is weird. I've got everything labeled there, but I don't have it labeled anywhere else. Let me look here. That's wild. That is going to be a determining factor right there. Trying to find everything. Oh, let's not move too much. Let's not move too much. That missile is not attached. Ah, small merge block 5. I must have mislabeled that. That's either wing. Okay, okay. So merge block 5. We'll make you, how to do this? Fox 1. There we go. That's a little off. All right. Well, he connected right back up. So now I should be able to find the sensors. Okay, there we are. Here's the sensors. And we're going to tell it to must detect. What's it going to detect? Should be it should be automatically hooked up, I would think. Let me read a few more comments here. Oh, Badger, I uploaded that missile I showed you, and I'm going to use it for my strike fighter. Oh yeah, cool. So y'all want to check out Grexion's page? He's got a whole lot of cool stuff there. He's also got the missile that he used to inspire this one with. If you want to use it for reference, okay, yeah, I might use it for reference if this doesn't work tonight. I may get on tonight. I may get on later and try to find that thing. Renegade buddy, I had a kinetic. bunker busted missile that would boost into atmosphere, then cut forward thrust and steer itself into any structure or vehicle on the ground. It worked very well, but became outdated. Oh, really? Had a friend make a satellite that could launch several, one after another. And yeah, they had fun introducing someone to them as they dropped the pile drivers on their base. So y'all just, your base of putting a telephone pole on someone's forehead. Last stream, I talked a bit of shit about the A server admin. Not proud of myself for it. I gotta check your streams out, man. I've got to check your streams out. Okay, so I think this will work. Uh, we'll put detect subgrids on and detect small ships. We should have access to this thing. Okay, let's go fly on out here. We'll get within range. This is the easiest way to tell if I'm doing this correctly or not. And we're going to find, where is it? Where are you at? Small merge block 3. Where did I put that? Should have relabeled it and put it somewhere else. Isn't that fun? There's Fox 1. There we go. Let's throw Fox 1 on there. Toggle lock on and off. And nothing happened. Well, that's understandable. I'm supposed to turn crap on. What happened? Let me see. Trigger slot 2 trigger when no longer detected. Nope. That's right. Trigger upon detection. Slot 2 trigger when no longer detected. This has created an issue. What I turn on here? Automation timer block start 4. Okay, that should have started. Nothing happened. What? What is happening here? Why did that not turn on? Let's reconnect. I'm just gonna slip on down. Turn that back on. See if we can just reconnect this right up here. Okay, we've got it back on. That's convenient. So, all right, we are outside of range. It should not detect us anymore. I am trying to figure out why that didn't work. I'm pretty sure I did everything correct. Let's see. What did we not do right here? We did something wrong. Okay. All right. Something activated. Why did that activate? Ah, I think I see what's happened here. I think I see what happened. I probably put that, but it has to detect it first. What the hell? That's going to be interesting. All right. First off, let's start turning stuff off here. That has to be turned back off. All right, I realized what I forgot to do on the ship. I forgot. Um, I forgot to turn on all the other systems. Let's disarm this here. disarm those warheads just like that. Let's go automation sensor here. Setup actions. Which one do we got here? Okay, we activate that timer block. So I think it's automated timer block 4. No. I seem to have accidentally set up actions, but I did not set it up to turn everything on. AI behavior on there. And AI behavior on there. So now the other problem is why this didn't activate. It's not activating until, let me see. No, 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 no. Please do not turn on. Something just turned on for Rick. Okay. Oh boy. I think that, yeah, it triggered it, but it didn't. It must be the other, yeah, that's automation block 4. So it doesn't have anything connected to it. Let's go to sensor 2. All right, let's do that. Now, the problem here is going to come into, I'm gonna despawn that real quick. It should be the missile we got. Oh, why are you not connecting? Oh, connect, damn you. Oh, come on. Oh, right. It won't connect because the merge block is not on. Huh, my bad. Okay. Let's see if this works here. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Now, I should have the sensor field up. Now, it's detecting the ship. It should be detecting. Let's see. Oh, come on. Oh, why won't I turn on? Oh, detected players. Yeah, I probably should do that. Where does it say detected players? Okay, turn that off. Oh, okay, okay. That's what I messed up on. I see what the problem is now. I see what the problem was. I think. We're about to find out. Now back on. New subgrid. Oh, not like that. Okay, let's see how this works. This might do it. It looks like I didn't have the system set up. Okay. Everything powered on, but nothing went into attack mode. Hmm. AI. Okay, let's see. AI behavior is on. Speed limits at 100. Let's precision mode, exact waypoint location. Slows down. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Collision avoidance off. Where is the target selection? AI behavior is on. Search interval. Everything is correct. It's all on. For some friggin' reason, thruster is available for each direction. Suddenly, this thing just doesn't want to do what I tell it to. All right, target selection. Let's go here. Let's see. Attack enemies. It's searching for targets. Threaten subsystem default. Target precision. Turn that off. Turn it back on. Still nothing. What has happened here? Everything is on. It's all doing what it's supposed to do. What the hell? Idle. On. It's what the crap. Okay, that's on. Stockpile is off. What the hell? Everything armed like it was supposed to. It's all on. I don't understand what happened here. Huh. Well, I looked. So Grexion said there might be something with the override, but the override appears to be disabled on all of them. I don't understand why it didn't drop off unless let's go ahead in here. Look at the sensors. All right. I got subgrids detecting on that one. And I got subgrids detecting on that one. It says slot 2 is for triggering when no longer effect detecting. I'm wondering if let's try. Let's see. What am I looking at here? Let's try putting that there. We'll start that there and see if that doesn't help. Let's go ahead and look at this thing, see what actions we have it setting up. So everything will get armed. Everything is on like it's supposed to be. Mm, that's the weirdest thing. It should not be happening. Nope. Let's Gyroscope, we're gonna turn that off. Uh, Stop that. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's because I'm trying to turn something on. But it's saying here, grid has no active move type block, which makes no sense because it does. It has a freaking AI control block up here. Maybe the missile has to be in motion. Let's try that. I'm gonna have to go back up here and redo this again. Hang on. See, this would be a way simpler system if I can get it to work. Come on, I'm not this stupid. At least I don't think I am. Okay, maybe. Okay, there's a problem with the AI on the missile. Wait, what? And it works. What the hell? Okay, so head down to it. There's the explosion. Holy crap. Um, okay, I think what I need to do, let's try one more thing here. I think I know what the problem is. Let me just look here on this thing. Just do, yeah, this is the one that does what I think it does. What about the other sensor block? What does it do? Okay, that's weird. Um, okay, so that's working. Let me grab the automation timer blocks with the set of actions for this. Okay. So which one is which here? What am I dealing with? That's Fox 4. All right. That works. What about this one? What is it running? That's timer block 4. So this one is not doing anything. That's not helping. So sensor 2 is running that. So what I need, I think, is for the sensor to have time to detect. I think that's what it needs. I'm going to put this one on just as soon as I turn that back on there. And if this works, the missile should activate on cue like it's supposed to. So it's detecting right now and has a detection grid through there. What should happen? It may be that the sensor just needs time to activate. So we're going to try this controlled real quick here. And the missile just took off. What the hell? Well, Grexion, I know you were gonna jump on, but I just saw that. But I'm sitting here looking at this thinking, I don't know how this is working. I don't know. I'm officially at the point that every programmer gets to when they get finished building something and it just fucking works, and I don't know why it frickin' works, but we're not gonna fuck with it. We're not gonna screw with it. We're gonna fly back over here, because it's working now. I don't know how it's working. I don't know if it's the sensor. I don't know what. I'll figure that part out later. But it appears to work now. Uh, don't ask me why. I haven't got a clue. I could not tell you how this thing friggin' works right now. Now comes the fun part where I have to connect this because it's not connecting. It's not detecting anything right now. We're gonna set up another F-302 like we done before. And like before, the purpose of this one is to simply get some wing mounts. That's it. So we'll get some wing mounts here. Okay, I'm gonna. Well, actually, all I gotta do. Nope. Nope, that's not what I gotta do. All I've got to do now is just grab this missile. And like I said, I could not tell you. No, no, no. I don't want to delete it. I want to copy it. I can't tell you why the missile worked. All I know is I fiddled with this, with the detection on here, and the darn thing just said, "Heck yeah, cowabunga, let's do it." Oh wait, I just realized I got to do some stuff first. We need to first off. That's wild. Why do I have that on number three? Hmm. Probably going to reset this entire board right here for combat. So, okay, I don't have anything on here. And I know I've got four of these. I need to figure out which is which. That way I don't accidentally launch the wrong one. So, quick move here. We know one of these is Fox 1 on this side, and it's the same color. We're going to use the grinder trick again. Because I want to know where Fox 2 is going to be. There we go. Now we just do some ship programming. Well, reality. Yeah, I need that done this way. So we're probably gonna double this up. I'm gonna probably put these in here and program them into their firing arcs. First off, I gotta put stuff in stuff's area. All right, so this is gonna be relabeled box dash two. I'm gonna name it that. And other merge block. Looking here at it, I think we need to call it four. Call that Fox 4. And then I should have the other two foxes up here somewhere. There we go. So we got Fox 1 here. And I think this one is Fox 2. We're going to just simply go back here. And I'm going to just pop that. Actually, no, we've got to do this right. Dash, what was it? 2? Nope. Uh, oh boy. Huh. We need this to be Fox three, actually. I almost messed up because the foxes are going to be the same, are going to be positives on one side and positive numbers on one side. What am I thinking here? Even numbers on one side, odd numbers on the other. That's where we're going with it there. That's where we're going. I think we have a functioning system. We're just gonna have to test it with multiple missiles and just see if it works. I think it is working. Okay. So for G, if I have this hooked up the way it's supposed to be, we will need Fox 1. Toggle that on and off. Remove. Remove. Okay, I can't put that one there. We have Fox 3 there and Fox 4. Weapon blocks. We'll place the autocannon right there. So now we have all three, or three of them set up. I need to now weld the last one back up. And we get to see if this system works or not. Now, we're not going to be able to have precision missiles. These are just going to be ship-mounted missile systems that's just going to go flying at the enemy and just smack them right in the face. That's all we needed to do. But if this works, I should be able to just weld these back up and go to town. Just saying. So now, missile system found. We're going to one. Why is it doing that? Okay, two. There we go. Oh, I hope this system works. This is one of those moments where I'm just like, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong right now. Three, I hope that is connected properly. Yes, it is. All right, there we go. Last missile here. Oh, it's trying to connect already. Boom. There we go. Missiles are completely on. Okay, so we are going to copy this whole system here. Flip that around. That's going to be for our what is the word? For our projections for the wings. Which I need to probably do now. We'll just kill multiple birds with one stone at the moment. All right, F-302 detach. And kill that off. Now here comes the right grid. Let's see. I'm on. Oh, why'd you turn off? Should be the right wing. Replace that with it. Okay. And then I just got to do the left wing here. Yes, folks, this is the annoying part of space engineers, having to redo blueprints and stuff like that. I am glad that I have a blueprint system because, dear God, that would make things. Ooh, everything kind of got ticked there real quick. So what we're gonna do now? Let's try a. Well, I don't have that one set up. We'll try a full run. We'll try a full run. First off, let's go to the projectors. Should be here somewhere. May have passed them. All right, left wing blueprints, XF, left. Okay, I want to pop out here and see. Yeah, I thought it would. I thought it would. It's going to mess with it. Fortunately, it looks like the wing system is almost there. I just got to take it. I wish we had some kind of little click system here that would make the system work. Also, I wanted to show only buildable here in a minute, but we're gonna, let's see, what have I got to do here? Okay, we're gonna just, nope, that went a little too, we're gonna go there. Oh, where to go? There it is. Oh, this would be so much easier. Let's see. I got the horizontal offset. Let's take a look here and see how it's looking. So what am I doing wrong here? It's got to go down. No, it just has to go to the side one. That's it. So, project your left wing. Hang on, hang on. I'm about got it. One more, maybe? Two. I think we're there. All right, we're going to find out here in a minute. I think I've got it in position, though. Let's see. Next one. It's this tedious crap that gets me on this game sometimes. But the more you do it, this is one of the things that you end up with. The more you do it, let's see. Oh, well, that one seems to not be giving us any trouble. It must have been the way I grabbed hold of it. Okay. Well, now, let's see how she works. Going in. Let's drop Fox 1, Fox 2. Oh, heck yeah, Fox 3, and Fox 4. They're all gone, heading to the target. Let's fly up here and see how they're doing. See if they hit or not. Boom! There's a hit. There's a hit. Direct hit 2, 3, 4. Looks like several massive explosions happened inside. All right, now we fly back and see if we can just reconnect all of these back up. And if this works, we have accomplished everything we need to accomplish. Because if, like I said, if this works, the system's done. We have accomplished the mission here, and then I can go to decorating. Go to making this thing look like a real ship. There we go. Look at that. All right, now let's go forward here. All right, do we have the whole system welded up? Or are we welded up here? Let's take a look. Okay, those are welded up. Let's spin these over here, weld them up as well. How do we look? Everything appears to be welded back up. Let's fly this baby up. So now this is as if we're fighting in a fighter. Let's stop right here. We're gonna chill the speed out. Flies like it's supposed to. All right, launching Fox 1. There we go. Fox 2. Fox 3. And Fox 4. That is it for all the weapons. Now upgraded. See it flying off. It's going to go in there and just smack the crap out of that thing. So they're working. I think it had to do with it may just not have been able there may be like some play in the I don't see this being an issue, but there may be some play in the sensor field. And because I had it down low to that point, it just was not detecting anything above it. That may be the issue. Ah, my is pretty simple if you want to have a setup that is easy to understand. No, that wasn't it. I think like I said, I think it was just the sensor field. It just didn't have a big enough sensor field on it. I may have overkill on the sensor field for this particular missile, but that seems to be what's working and what's causing it to work. Then again, I may have fixed something on the sensor grid of the missile, but it seems like the system is working with far less, with a lot less. So I don't have to put every single thruster on there or anything else. And if I really want to, I could set up a timer block to just turn on the missile, and as soon just to trigger it immediately, and we could launch the missile from from inside of a ship silo. So it's working far better. If you encounter more issues with the sensor field, just copy the settings on my missile. Yeah, I will. I will. If I figure right now I'm at the point of I think it's the sensor field. Again, I'm worried there's a bug here that I don't know exists. But I think I'm gonna copy this missile. I think I'm gonna probably fiddle with the missile a little bit, get the sensor fields at the same height so that I can so then because with the two timer blocks on here, with those two timer blocks, if I can have this thing trigger immediately, you can have this thing launch a missile almost instantaneously off of a ship. I don't need a gravity launcher anymore to make it work. I just need this thing to just not detect the subgrid up above it or whatever it's needing to detect and set it to instantaneous and then give the second one the ability to just launch the Joker off into the stratosphere basically with a secondary timer block turning on all the other systems. So that's not an issue. I can actually use the same system that I'm working with now. And if I put the missiles in, well, hold on, I wonder something here. Let me look. I saw this done a while back. I don't think. Let me see something here. I'm gonna grab a door. There's no way that'll work. Oh wait. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe that could work. I don't know. I don't know. See, the thing about the missiles is I like to be able to launch them up in the air. Well, actually, no, I could just have the system turn on. I have two timer blocks. I can have the other motors turn on and leave this thing just free flying when it needs to activate. The problem is I won't be able to send these things in long range. Of course, rethinking this again, overthinking, I could just do like the Donager if I do a missile system and just fire the missiles out the front end, just open up, hit the deal, and just launch them, and they just fly towards our. That's another thing I need to test here. Let's go ahead and do another test. Let's go rearm the F-302. I'm gonna start at distance and see if we can get the missiles to long range shot. Because one of the things that I have noticed about the missiles, and this is something that Get Brocked has mentioned, for those of you that haven't seen some of his stuff, Get Brocked and a lot of other people have mentioned this, where you don't need like rail guns because the missile can just load her in mid flight and you don't have to give it anything else. It'll just auto target and we can just load her the thing in. See, that's simple. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, let's make sure we got the whole thing up here. How are we looking over here? Yeah, we're looking good. All right. Now let's bring this over here. And I'm going to drop it down in here. I'll weld this baby back up. Let's go down. Weld, weld, weld. All right, do we have our missiles set up? Okay, looks like they're all built. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to fire some extreme long-range shots. And what that means is I'm going to be launching these with inertia from a pretty good distance. And what should happen, I shouldn't have to get close. We're going to be testing this little theory out here. So the advantage here is I can get going. And now we're going to fly off ahead of the missiles, twice the speed. We're going to get to the Providence before they do. Because what should happen is when they come within range of the Providence, they should immediately target it and go straight for the kill. Should being the primary word. If this works, then we have a weapon we can mount to other ships. I can put it on other systems. It'll just be that nightmare weapon that you can use to just hit targets at extreme distances. So now that I'm here, we're going to put the F-302 kind of far. Well, nope, there they come. Here they come, right there. Oh, they did exactly what I. Oh God, that is awesome. So we have the ultimate first strike weapon system. This is the ultimate first strike weapon system. Let's see what's left. I want to take a look at the debris of what's left of these things. Not much, just that's a pretty good use. Most of the system is just destroyed. So there's nothing. There's still stuff that can be used there. Let's go inside here and see. Like it is annihilating this the Providence as it hits. It's tearing all sorts. You also got small debris floating around in here. There must be something here that those things are targeting because they're only targeting the nose of this thing. And that's a problem because what I want to do, well, yeah, it's going to be a problem because I would like to set these things to where they will target specific things, but that's not going to happen. So we have a fire forget missile system that can be printed on the F-302, and the F-302 has long range combat capability. Let me go in here and get the other things. We're going to do some programming up here. Get the F-302 programmed up. And we're going to go to, we're going to put like this. F-2 wing projectors. Let's put an O there. I'm not sure. I don't think it's supposed to have an O there, but we'll do it anyway. So now that I have that programmed in, go into G menu, groups, F-302 wing projectors, and now we can toggle the block on and off. Turn that off, and then go back here. I may set all of those up to a single group and set those two off. But now, this is the F-302 flying in. Not a care in the world. So it's working like it's supposed to. We need to program in some other systems. And like I said, this is like a carrier-based strike fighter. When it's not in use and you need to store one, we can set these up for easy storage. Just line them up, lift up inside the bay, and just lock one in. And you could, I've got to build a carrier for these things. How tall is this Joker anyway? Because we may build a Daedalus to hold it with. That'd be interesting. Okay, so Renegade Bundy came up with a really good question here. Could you make a mass production missile gantry that you can go up and label each one before loading them into the fighters? Um, that's kind of what we're doing here. So I don't need to label all the missiles. The problem with trying to do trying to tell the missiles what to attack is every time I weld them back up, I'm going to have to reactivate the arming system. This way, we don't have to reactivate an arming system. We just send them in and they start tearing things apart. If I have to, I can go into the program system and we can just set them deliberately, but that'll mean going into the K menu, finding the F-302 missiles, the system blocks that are in there, and then just setting them to missiles instead. The problem is, and this is what I ran into before, was when I would rebuild these missiles, you would have a whole bunch of other issues pop up, which is you have to go in and retask everything back to the taskbar again because it's not all connected up. And so you've got to retask the entire taskbar a second time around. That's something we're trying to avoid. Grexion, if I encounter more, just copy. Grexion also said here, but I'm sorry about that. I've already read that comment and didn't realize I did until I looked at it. What is the overthruster at the top? Oh, the overthruster is the one that normally pushes the missile away. So I've got that labeled. I may label the back of the missile too. just for ships and everything. The final production version of the missile, so y'all can take them and use them. The cool part is this is a very small missile that we're flinging at a target, and it should get through defensive systems pretty easily. It's got enough blocks on the front of it with the gyroscope, the sound block, the two timer blocks that will activate everything, and then everything else is behind it. So if you can fire several missiles, the idea is that several F-302s basically will fly in with a full payload, and they will just drop an entire payload into an enemy, and they just won't have a chance when this thing engages. It'll just start dropping everything it needs. Will just start being lobbed at the target, and they will have minimal chance of countering this thing. The other advantage is we can put a carrier beyond engagement distance of an enemy ship. A couple of these missiles hitting a target from about a squadron of F-302s, which is just needing four, and our carrier can just sit back at a distance. Once the F-302s can strike with the missiles, lob their missiles in, and immediately turn around and juke B-90 back to the carrier. Because of this, the missiles will come in and just strike. You can have just this mass volley of missiles just come in. They all target long before any defensive systems have realized they're in the area. The missiles will just streak in, and they'll basically, four F-302s will basically overwhelm defenses. With just these four, just two F-302s, if they fire the missiles and stagger them out to where the defensive systems have to really turn and shoot, the missiles will basically go out and they will just they'll target the system and just charge right at it. So even a single F-302 is going to be a nightmare for an enemy ship to deal with. And that's not even the best part. The best part is if you really wanted to harass someone, I could build a stealth missile ship, a fighter. I've got to do that on the next one. We may build a stealth fighter, a twin seat stealth fighter with all kinds of nifty little systems. We're gonna have four guns, obviously. We'll have the four gun system that'll pop up and hit targets. Twin seater cockpit with and we'll have to add some cool stuff to it. It'll be a bigger than average and also give it jump drive capability, so it can jump into an area, observe, give it radar, so it has its own electronic warfare system, like a ship kind of like the Blackbird from Battlestar Galactica. Very similar in the way that thing would operate. So we can have a ship that have multiple killjoys on it. But this thing has enough unhealth care on it, just this unit, that it will make a dent. And then there's also the wind up guns, which will just chuck out once it starts fighting. So the F-302s can do double duty of just striking a target and just hitting them. They won't even have a. They're not going to have much. And this thing, when it starts shooting another target, it just starts ripping it to pieces. So now we have an F-302 that has a lot of stuff done to it. We can now activate the missile pods, and we can translate those back. We can turn on all the missile systems. I may set it up. No, if we can turn this off, it'll be awesome. So we can turn that nonsense on and off. On top of that, a few more upgrades, and this thing will actually work out pretty good. I'm kind of tempted to. I'm a little tempted to try and install a radar on this thing because I have the area for it. It wouldn't take much to put a radar on this. It would only take two turret controllers and then another programmable block. We may have to take out the AI blocks for the F-302 itself That might be a better option though, because if we can add a turret system to the F-302, two of them, one on top, one on bottom, then the F-302 would also have radar systems built into the system so that, let me just hop in here. We could then just put the radar right here, and that's all you need is just radar right there. And so when the F-302 is flying in and striking, we'd have our radar system right in the center console telling us when something was getting close or not. And we're just adding equipment to this thing. Guessing the wings fold up. Yes, the wings will fold up. I promise you, the wings will fold up. Eric Evans, how does it land? It flies good in atmosphere, though I don't know how well it's going to fly with the extra missile weight. But the extra missile weight isn't a whole lot. It shouldn't have an effect. It flew perfectly fine in atmosphere. Like it took atmosphere like you wouldn't believe. But one of the things that I try to do is I center up my system. So all we got to do is get it where it needs to go. When one of these goes into storage, we're just going to have to come up with a system in the ship where we stick out a storage rack. The F-302 moves up, locks into it, and then we fold the wings up. And then it pulls it into storage. And so then our F-302 is in storage. And then the the carrier we can put these things into can actually store several F-302s, and then we can have a fleet of F-302s on standby. So if we need to send, so if somebody gets taken out, say someone gets blowed up, we can just run. That guy can respawn back in the carrier, hop into one of the extra F-302s, extend that Joker out. He can hop up on the top deck, fill up our entire system. Which also reminds me, we've also got to refill all of these darn tanks right here. That's another thing I've got to do is program that in. So give me a sec here while everything is disconnected at the moment. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. All right, those should be disconnected. We got 2, 3 small insect connectors. I don't need those to be named anything else. We're gonna take that off there. I'm gonna take these and do something else with them. Go down here. Okay. There we go. We got missile fuel line. So since that's not connected, and I believe those are ready to connect. Let me also go in here and look at those things. I want to let's make sure. Yeah, missile fuel line. Head down here. Now turn the strength off. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn the strength off. So that doesn't have any effect. And I should be able to refuel. So once these things weld up, the missile will automatically be in draw fuel mode. So what should happen is when I turn the system on, I should see the H2 gauge go down. Once it fills back up, the missiles are reloaded and we're ready to go. So that's the other thing. Let's test that system out now too, because we're just going through putting the F-302 through its paces right now. We're just testing all the systems out in a controlled environment, mind you. We've got several of these, so yeah, that's a fun part. So yeah, like I said, this thing is I'm gonna have to do something with it. As bad as it looks right now. All right, slip over here. All right, let's make sure we got everything welded up like it's supposed to be. Okay, now for the G menu, go to groups, missile fuel line. Let's see. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. I am hoping these things are not set to auto lock because that is going to be depressing. Oh crap. Here they go. That should fill up. So I've got a fill line automatically in this thing, so it's already got an oxygen that serves as both an oxygen tank and a hydrogen tank. Carry spare F-302 wings. Yeah, we could probably carry another two F-302 wings if I really wanted to. All right, disable. Uh, don't do that. System just tried. All right, let's see how this works again. We're going in. Number 6, turn off the one deal. We are flying in. Let's drop Fox 1, Fox 2, Fox 3, and Fox 4. Systems are aligned. They are working like they're supposed to. Here they go. 4 tiny little missiles just going in there to smack the crap out of the Providence. And I can see small explosions. Very, very tiny explosions that are just ripping into it. And they're doing damage. So, like, you wouldn't have to do a whole lot. Just have your ship. And like I said, we've done the test showing that the long range capability of a missile like this by having it launch like so, that means we can fire from F-302 from beyond line of sight. That's what we've obtained with the F-302 thing. Fox 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. Yes, I have these named. So the missiles don't have any real interesting naming. They have the entire same systems. But because our the things here, let me pop out here and I'll explain this. We can have certain systems like this, like the connector here for the fuel line, that can be connected to its own entire system. However, this here has to have its own individual name. Once this disengages, the missile that we have down here somewhere, I've got one, has a sensor field. And that's what Grexion got me to utilizing. So with a sensor field, the F-302 is now able to strike a target, tear into this nightmare like a beast, and we can just, like I said, just launch this from the F-302 and hits it. The system that we've got right now enables us to use fighters like actual fighter carriers. So it's kind of like launching ships from a another ship, and they just start ripping and tearing through. We have a reason for carriers now with a group. And if you've got a group of people, if you've got 4 guys or just 5 dudes running, 4 guys running a wing, and maybe a group of guys that can crew. Leps is here. Hey, yo, man, how you doing? We have a group of guys that can crew a carrier, then and run a carrier and keep it going, and you can supply it. A carrier is going to be a really nightmarish thing to fight because yes, there are people who will come back and say, yeah, well, drones, if you fire off a drone or a drone carrier, you're not going to be able, like, line of sight, we're going to go get the carrier and kill it. Here's the problem. All ships jump back onto the carrier, and the carrier has 2 jump drives, and it can charge. It puts one jump drive in charge while the other one and turns it puts it into charge. If you can do that, I'm gonna have to see if I can do that. But you have that in charge. The fighters are just going to go back, land, and as they weld up the missiles and they begin refueling, they're going to jump to another location. You're not going to know where that's at. It's going to be beyond your sight range limit. And if they're not turning on missiles and stuff like that, they don't have any identifying markers on, it's going to be hard to see that carrier. Then you've got the F-302s just lobbing crap from beyond your capability. So, like, it doesn't matter how many guns you have on your ship. I hope you have a lot of them because you're going to have missile systems coming at you. And the worst part is the carrier can probably, if it needs to, could set up a decoy drone to fly with this that will fly in, F with your defensive systems a bit, and then the F-302, or we could just have another ship that flies in there, a small escort fighter, say the Saber, and we could put a couple of micro decoy units on it and just let the decoys fly in there while your guns are tearing into the decoy blocks. The missiles come in there and just hammer you. But four missiles coming at you at one time is going to be a difficult thing for your defensive systems to deal with. And I've fired missiles like this already. The missiles guidance system and everything, it works perfectly. So it's going to be a problem for somebody to deal with. Like I said, this means that missiles are now a very good standoff weapon. You can just get to position, drop your missile, and next thing you know, those people are understand what the term past tense means. Let's drop her down here kind of low. Go up a bit more. Let me look here and see how we're doing. First set of missiles are built up. Now I'm having trouble here keeping the missiles built up because, good God. And you can see here on top of the ship, you can see these sensor zones, those little gray and black, gray and red areas on top of this thing. You can now see those. And so now my interesting little fighter, I wish I could take all that crap off. I'm trying to figure out why we have all these extra sensor systems. Oh, wait, I have a sensor set up to show up in HUD. That's the problem. I could turn that off and I wouldn't have to worry about it. That wouldn't be a problem anymore. But hey, what are you going to do? So then, second thing has to happen. Let's activate this. So you see there, I'm at 99 hydrogen, 98. It's going down for a second. Now it's going back up. So the system, once you turn that on, you're going to have to watch the system once it powers up. We're going to get all the hydrogen in. The H2 gauge down at the bottom right of the screen. Once that hits 100, there we go. We have 100. I'll turn that off. Okay, it's taking a bit to turn off here. But now our missiles are fully active. Let me turn off the sensor field. So I see that. I've got that figured out now. That's not an issue. And there we go. We have the Star Wars Providence cruiser. I'm going to show y'all what I mean by let's go to distance here. You hear a few bangs happening. Clang is starting to get a little irritated. Hopefully nothing bad will happen here. So we're coming at a little bit different angle here. Let's come in from the back and just let these missiles hit from the rear end. I love to dogfight it in my broadsword. The broadsword's going to have some fun because most of the turrets, if I'm remembering which one it is correctly, um, the broadsword is going to have some fun fighting it because once the missiles are locked and they go off and engage, you're gonna have to deal. The missile doesn't stop. It's got a full small hydrogen tank of gas, and it can go for some time. It eventually, if you make a mistake and a missile is inbound and it gets lucky, it will take you out. Uh, if you're paused for just a few minutes and that thing is coming in, it is going to smack you. I mean, it does not play with you. All right, we'll get going here. Give us some lift here. And one, two, three, four. There we go. Now let's fly into the Providence cruiser here. We're going to get to see how they respond to it. We're going to get in close. So they're not going very fast. I'm hoping that they have enough distance there that they'll still impact. Looks like we're going to get a pretty interesting angle here. But they should come within range in just a few seconds. Let's fly on in here. Now they're targeting the front of this thing for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. I am looking here. They should be coming in here any minute. All right, where are you? I'm not seeing them. Maybe I sent them too high. Might have got the height on them too high up. System should detect them coming in. They were moving in kind of slow. Like I said, this might be a good time for like a radar for this thing. Not see it. Wait a minute. I think I saw him. There you go. There's one coming in hard. One, two, three, four. Here they come. Whoops, that smacked something else. What the heck? Ooh. So there was a piece of debris right there. The first one just smacked it, but the other three just slammed in there like it was nothing. They were like, "Yep, we got this." The first one might have missed, but the second and third and fourth one, they just did the job nicely. Yeah, this is working out beautifully. This is awesome. Oh yeah, also, dog, if you're wanting to take a fight with this thing, let me show you what the main cannon is I'm working with here on this thing. It takes a second to wind up, but like a minigun, in true fashion, it is going to rip and tear. This thing is a nightmare. This, like I said, if this thing comes into contact with other fighters, it'll take a minute, but once those guns light up and start sending in, it's going to take about 7 or 8, probably about 10 hits, and that's not going to be very hard to get to land on target. It fires as fast as a Gatling does. We're hitting somewhere within 894 rounds per minute, I think is what the F-302 is pulling. So everything else is working like it is supposed to. Uh, let's see. What else am I needing to do here? That's about it. Because the missiles don't have a antenna, they're just going to be hard to spot. You're just going to notice your system is going to start firing at something random flying through the air, and you'll be like, "Wait, what the hell is going on?" And then you're going to realize, "Oh crap, we're under attack." Like I said, that distance, that's a 3,000. That was 3 That was about 3 kilometers out. Three, no, 3,000 kilometers out. Yeah, I think that's right. No, just 3 kilometers. We're talking a missile system, a weapon that has a 3 kilometer range. It's that's not the exact limit of the weapon system. It can fire way further out. We're talking having a missile that we just have to get within range of the target, drop all your missiles, giving them the inertia to travel to the base. This makes a missile strike from a fighter is going to be one of the more, is now the first impact weapon system that you're going to be using. This is the first strike capability in Space Engineers. This is what you need. This thing here, going in, launching an attack, and if you have a ship that has a bunch of these, like a missile frigate, it can launch several of these if you want. You now have artillery missile frigates now, using whatever kind of missile you want to use, and just lob that joker downrange. Well, what's the other guy going to do? He doesn't have a whole lot of options. They're going to have to figure out where you're at, and by the time they figure out where this comes, especially if it's coming from a fighter group, you've got to get out there and find them. And if they're beyond radar range and running with the antenna off, you're not going to find them. You're going to be sitting there looking around where the missiles were at. Those guys are going to be gone. They'll just attack from another angle. You're going to have volleys of missiles coming in, and one carrier is going to be able to just flat out harass a whole base unless they've got some like you're going to have a whole bunch of defensive implements in place to try and kill the missiles before they get to you. And even then, if there's decoys and stuff that can be launched, if you have a dedicated decoy ship, which can go out there and launch decoys and do all sorts of other stuff, there's not a whole lot the other guy can do except get lucky, find you, and then start attacking the carrier. Which then, if the carrier jumps, you just jump a few 100 kilometers outside of where the enemy base is. The other thing that's needed is it, like I said, if you have a dedicated stealth ship, and when I say stealth ship, you need a dedicated ship with enough guns, probably only needs two small guns, and I am really going to work that thing over. And maybe enough storage for maybe two of these missiles when they drop. You have an option there. Not to mention these missiles, if you set them up correctly, can pretty much fly themselves. This particular missile system, I think I can probably mount it to anything. Um, Probably can mount it to trucks, mount it to ships, have it in silos. I've got to work around the missile system a bit to figure out and rename some stuff on it so that we can get a primary, main, secondary, third engagement system. And then we can set up a whole bunch of other stuff and we can flip the script on somebody with a new missile. And I'll put the missile on the workshop. I'll probably call it the Long Fang so it can sit out there and reach out and touch something. But this will be like a primary long range implement. Being able to launch this thing and it impact and do damage, the other guy is going to be sitting there wondering where the heck these things are coming from. And he's going to be losing his mind, pulling his hair out as these things are fired. Plus, you can build the size of these things. I bet we could build a purpose built warship with the proper thrusters that could just be a straight up missile boat. One thing, we're working with the limited surface of the F-302. But if we built a purpose built warship just for the missile system, oh crap. You could, and also you could mount the missiles inside of corvettes. You could have a hammerhead corvette. You only need enough space for the missile to drop out of. And really that I am betting you probably could get away with maybe a gate, one of those large gates, just open the thing up, hit the button on the sensor and then just program the missile itself. So when you put it in there, it's pre-programmed. Missile drops right out. The missile, as soon as it detects it's not attached to the grid anymore, drops right, shoots itself right out, realigns itself, and takes off. And we did that already in one of the last live streams where we dropped it. Leps, it's been a while. Yeah, it has been, man. Eric Evans, 5 turrets. Yeah. The autocannon's going to have some fun. One AC turret, four as turrets, four AS turrets, four AC cannons, and one railgun is the broadsword's armament. Does it have any missiles? Because like I said, the broadsword probably pair real good with the F-302 though, because it's the broadsword as a fighter is more of a gunship, so it works good as a gun as like a gunship, and then it could be like an escort unit for the F-302s. And so like if fighters respond, the broadsword can be there just to kind of escort. Plus the saber also is a purpose built ship. It can zip in there and smack something real good. But yeah, without the missiles, it looks awesome. Looks even better with the missiles. It's like, yeah, we're packing some heat today, boys. We're about to go in here and we're about to go in there and fuck the situation that someone else is fucking up. Now imagine a fleet of these things coming in and just really wreaking havoc. So before we get done here, let's no, that's not what I want. Let's do this. Let's grab the groups. Wing hinges. All right, let's put that there. I'm going to hinge lock that on and off. And we are going to, let's see, reverse that. And I want to go in. Let's grab the wing hinges. And see, I don't know what the limit of the wing hinges is. So let's see. We've got the upper limit here. I need to see exactly what happens. Okay, go up, go up. What? That's interesting. Okay, and velocity, we need to reset that to, let's try 5. Reverse. All right, let's check and see if we got any clanging going on here. That is awfully close. I worry about clang. Let's pull that off a tad. Let's sit here now. That's there. We'll pull that off like that. And let's see. Number 9, we can deploy our wings. Number 8 locks them. There we go. We have an F-302 that is just absolutely terrifying everything on the planet. And that is the first deal done. Now we have these to where they can actually cut the storage down. We can probably store these really efficiently. Let me see here. Let's see. Eric Evans, give it to the AI space pirates and have a go. Uh, Not right now. Let me get this thing fully built up. So I don't want the, if I end up losing it, it'll go, they'll probably target everything else in this area. So we'll probably test that out later. Um, I do want to do a test between the F3 old F302 versus the new F302. Um, Eric Evans, I class the broads. I think he's calling the broadsword. He's classing it as an interceptor, which is, yeah, it'd be correct because it has the turning guns and everything. Grexion, hey Badger, how many warheads does your missile have? Two. It has two small warheads on it, so it's got plenty of power. The idea with the missile is when it hits, it punches into it and it blows. Eric Evans, good question. And is there room for more? Um, if I were to do more missiles or more warheads, I would want some type of cluster munition, which would require a lot. And I would also want some type, or I would just build a bigger missile out of large blocks, because then you can build a single shot missile system from that, load it onto a bigger ship, and just lob that thing at the target and just let them have fun with that. Be like, yeah, y'all have this issue. I'm about to really show you what an unlimited defense budget looks like. See, right now I'm kind of going with this build. I've kind of gone full America, and I've kind of just built a fighter that can pretty much do carrier stuff. And this is the fun part about space engineers. You can do some real carrier stuff. What is this? An MC private sale. Yeah, I'd screw with him, but I only got, fortunately, we've only got one of these new F-302s out here, so we can't do that yet. Laps, couldn't you also have a drone wing with missile set to launch by relay? Yeah, that could be done as well. Um, what you could do is you could use the probably all you'd have to do is just use the set the drone to follow, and then have a couple of control blocks. What is it, the new broadcast controller system? And then just set it up, just have the same missiles set up to the wings of the drones, and then just have a whole nother area where you can launch the other drones. So you could fire multiple drones at a target if you wanted to. Just start chuck one, chuck two, chuck three, chuck four, and then you have Fox 1, 2, and 3 on the other drone units. You could just have a major carrier drone that, as it's going in, you could just have it once once the drone acquires a target, you could have a, let me see how that would work. You could have it run a timer block where it would just start lobbing the missiles before it engaged. So it would drop an alpha strike onto whatever it is it's firing at. I probably could do probably make it more effective. Loyal wingman drones would be cool. Yeah. And you could do that easily. So like you set it to follow, and then you set it to, I think, attack, and the drone will just constantly attack. All you'd have to do is turn off the system. You'd have to have a system in which you turn it off, and then the drone will just return to your ship. You just keep it at a distance as it's flying with you, and that would solve a whole lot of issues in its own right. So you could do something like, how would we do that? I could probably, I'll tell you what I could do. I could probably build a mini F-15 drone, honestly, and just send that out there with just basic rocket systems. Just let it do. I was actually thinking about building that for another project I had going on for the 4th of July. Whether it gets done in time, that's going to be the fun part. I don't know if I'll get the project done in time. So I got a whole month to finish it, and the ship is coming together much better than I hoped it would. But it'll be a meme more than anything else. Let's see, that's the first one done. Let's see. We have a programmable block down here already. Let's add, let's just add another one, because I don't see why we shouldn't. And this one, we're going to do Whip's turret control system, which I also got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Let me look in here. Hopefully I've got... No, I don't. I don't have 2 layers of stuff. I probably only need 1, in all honesty. I probably only need 1 turret system to give it a radar, or a functioning radar. I'll just try that instead. Shove that right there. I know I've got extra blocks up here. We'll start here. Looking in. Yeah, I don't need that block at all. I don't need either of those blocks, really. We'll take both of those out. I'll set that there. Yeah, we'll put that one there. And I think what we're going to do, let's take that block out because I'll do this. Can I can lob a block there. Let's see, where is, not hinges. I'm going to need a hinge, that's for sure. Let's grab a rotor. I'll sneak in. Let's just grab a whole new page here. Need a rotor. Rotor, 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 rotor. And a hinge here. So what we're going to do, I can set that there. I don't know how difficult this is going to become. So I should do it. Like a functioning radar system should be easy to do. I see. Hey, Badger, as a redundancy, if you make a rocket salvo pod, add a program block on the pod itself, as that's what I did in my armament pack for my strike fighter. Programmable block you have on the fighter should do the job fine, but just in case it gets hit. Oh, the rocket salvo. Yeah, yeah, I probably will do some redundancy there somehow. We'll get some redundancy done. I'll have to figure that out when I get to it. Let's see. I wonder if I'm gonna clang this thing if I do this here. Yeah, let's not do that there. Let's just take a section out here. We'll throw him in. And then we'll put number 3 there. And then I'll just have to rebuild that entire system back up there. So 1, 2, and 3. That's done. And so the purpose of this thing, which actually just reminds me, I have a whole new issue I've got to deal with. I have to put a turret controller in there. So this thing will detect stuff because I need a turret that can detect things. Let's see. What else do I need? I need the camera. Where's the camera? There we go. And so now we kind of have a radar system that's kind of functioning. Where is the turret control block? Am I missing that again? Oh, come now. It's up here somewhere. For those wondering, I still have not gotten used to this new. There it is. I still haven't gotten used to this crap. Boom. There we go. So we have that in place. It's going to be fun trying to turn on the F-302 because we're going to have to worry about hitting whatever's there. So you'll have to drop it down. Fortunately, the only time we're probably going to be using that is for other things. Let me see what else we're talking here. Grexion's got some great ideas. Grexion. It also makes it easier if you mount the same pod on a fighter that does not have a programmable block for the salvo too. Probably won't even salvo it. What I'm thinking about doing is the one block, just kind of putting the connector block there, and then just insetting a rocket, not the single use rocket pods, but the multi use rocket pods for small ship, and then that'll just load missiles right up into it, and it'll just lob out whatever it needs. And so then the thing will just fly in, hit. When it runs out of ammo, it'll fly back and just land like a good drone. So we got this going. I'm kind of wondering if I even need to do that. We'll find out here in a minute. So first off, I need to program this up. I need to give, let's see. Here we are. I'm going to call this Radar. That's what we're going to call him. We're going to call him Radar. And let's go to rotor 2. Call this Radar 2. And then we have the one camera up there, which is perfectly fine. So let's go ahead here, and I need to go to the turret controller. Where's that at? T, 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 T. Where is T? Oh, yeah, there it is. Custom turret controller. Here we go. Let's set up. Is that okay? Elevation needs to be radar 1. Radar 2 needs to be that, and then camera assigned. Enable AI on. I don't. Turn off target meteors. Keep the range up there. All right. That should be all it needs to find something. Now, for this particular block. Nope, not that. Let's see. No content. Apps. Let's go down here to edit. Browse scripts. While I figure out where is my radar script at. Where's the radar script? We need that. There it is. Turret-based radar. Okay. Somewhere and enjoy. Okay. Check code. It's done. Okay. Let's do that. And I need to get into the cockpit now. I need to figure out which one. Oops. Kind of messed up there. Let's move from the fighter cockpit. Where is the top center screen? And I need to rename that somehow. LCD panel. Let's see. How do I get that to work? Okay. Radar. I think that'll do it. There we go. We have ship radar. Let's fly out here and see what happens. Should start detecting here in a minute. Yeah, we got to be like 600 meters in. And we are not detecting. Oh, yep, there it is. Providence is there, so we got short range radar at least. So at 600 meters, we'll be able to detect enemy fighters at least. That's good. That's good. So the radar is working exactly as planned. If I could increase the range of the radar, I would do that, but that's not possible. So we have radar now, and it doesn't matter. Let's see what happens. Let's go flying over the top of the Providence here. I can kind of see my radar. I want to see if it'll still pick up. We fly over the top of it. Yep, we're able to detect it. We don't need like multiple radars. We just need one radar. So that means on the next ship, I could just mount some type of pod to the ship that could do exactly what I needed to do. That's nice. That's nice. So here we go. Like I said, the ship has its own oxygen, hydrogen supply, so it can run its own if it runs out of stuff. We have to have a ship out in the middle of nowhere. I would have put a jump drive on this thing, but that was just that was just a little too that was going to be just a little too much, just a little too much. So let's see, what else do I have to do here? I have to set up both the top and bottom connectors. We have to set up the power and we have to like there's a lot of things that have to be fixed on this thing, set up and ready to go. So when we use this thing, it does its job and does it very well. So those are going to have to be figured out. What is that private sale doing? Is it shooting at the Providence? Because that would make a lot of sense. Okay, let's see. Also need to add some plates here to cover a lot of this up, and then we got to repaint it once we get everything figured out. So let's go over here. And let's see. We've got connector one and connector three. Let me rename these here. This will be the top connector, obviously, for obvious reasons. Let's see. Actually, we'll rename this to. I think that's. Is that how you spell spinal? Or do I need an E there? Oh, that's spinal. We'll call it dorsal. It should be easier. Call that the dorsal connector. And then this one will be ventral connector, so I know where those are. Um, Need to put these three thrusters here into a group. Um, And then we'll set these. I believe that's the correct way of spelling it. If not, I will look at that later and I will figure out if that's the correct way to spell it. Let's see. See, we got some cruising thrusters there. Let's go ahead and hit that. Actually, let's do this in reverse here because that will be a whole lot easier. We'll do batteries. Uh, Whoops. Do reactors. Okay, we've got all this stuff going where it needs to go. Small oxygen tank is not that big a deal. Hydrogen tanks, however, since I do not have those connected, let's go ahead and hook up. Ah, why did I do that? All right, we got fuel tanks. Oh yeah, I need both of these to. All right, atmel thrusters. I've got groups for everything right now. There we go. That is everything with a plate with a block and everything with a purpose. So now we got to go through and start putting stuff together. So da 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 da. Gee, gee golly willikers, where is my connectors? Where do they go? Okay, we get the ventral connector. This is the one you're probably going to use the most. So I'll do switch lock for that one. And that means the other one is right here. That'll be the dorsal one. We'll switch lock that one. Let me see here. As far as groups are concerned, okay. We have fuel tanks. We'll wait on those. I need reactors ready. Turn block on and off. We're going to need main hydrogen thrusters. Toggle on and off. We're going to need these toggle on and off. And I'm going to want these toggle on and off, as well as this toggling on and off. I need the batteries with recharge on and off, and we need the fuel tanks to stockpile on and off. Now, for part 3 here, we're going to need just some miscellaneous crap that has to be turned on and off. Number one, antenna. We'll be able to turn that on and off. Let's see, what else do we want to turn off here? Oh yeah, small oxygen tank. We actually managed to put one of those on there. We'll put stockpile for that on and off as well, so we can turn that on and off. And oh yeah, one more thing. Uh, Toggle that on and off, and that's everything. That's the entire fighter program now. Let's see, we can turn that off, turn this off, and just well, it's off. Yep, it's off because it's holding strong. And if I turn it back on, there we go. Let's go back over there. We have number 9. Turn that on to stockpile. Oh wait, I've got the other thing on. Turn that off. There we go. Yeah, that works. Power should shut off when that engages. Let's go over here. Number 3, number 8. Yep, that turns off everything. So we got number 3. Go out here. We've got number 6. All maneuvering thrusters are off. Turn that back on. We can now also turn, let me see here, number 7 to give me more atmospheric capability. We'll turn that back on. Number 5, I can turn those off. So the cruising ion cruisers are off. And then number 4, main thrusters are off. So turn that. We've got cruising thrusters, which are not very powerful, but only uses a small amount of power. And we can get the ship going somewhere on just cruising thrust. Plus, if I turn on maneuvering thrusters, maneuvering thrusters will be able to keep us from getting too out there, and they'll be able to stop the ship down. Now, the other thing I can do, I'm hearing a clang, so it's not that big of a problem. This is what you want to use these, because one of the things I found while flying ships like this, if you have the ability to swap over to a weaker thrust to weight rate thrust ratio compared to your forward thrusters, tiny maneuvers and precision maneuvers like going back and forth have an effect, especially when you're going forward. You can just pop these on for just a second and move them to position. All right, so number 4 is doing good. And then over here, we've already seen all this stuff. That stuff actually works. So let me sit here and look at some comments here. Let's see. Leps. Anyway, it's about time I go to the gym, so have some fun building. Oh, I am. We're about to. I may leave everything for Thursday or Wednesday, depending on how this rain goes. If you have an AI defensive block, you can get detection up to 2.5 kilometers. Oh, seriously? Hmm. That's interesting. We may be putting an AI defensive block on there, and then we can have a really good radar range. If it'll sit there. Yeah, I can also set radar range and programmable block custom data. Oh, seriously. Hold up. Let's check that out. We gotta check that out. Where is my programmable block for this darn thing? Let's see here. Automation programmable block number 2, custom data. I'll be damned. Okay, where is the range? Uh, where's the range at? Values can range from 0. Um, hmm. I'll have to fiddle with this later. The 255 range. Background's a 255. I don't see a position here where I can actually target a greater distance. I'll have to mess with that later. Let's see. Yeah, all that, everything is programmed, so the fighter is actually ready to go. First two shots are just to get you on target. But yeah, so we got this all figured out. Let's go ahead and put the F-302 down here. It's about done. It's about done. I will probably do some painting on this thing as soon as I can. Let me get down here with the rest of the other units that I've got. Yeah, let me whip around here and get this thing right in position so we can take a look at it comparing the two fighters. I am gonna, like I said, I am gonna go ahead and get. There we go. So there's our completed fighter, ready to be painted. And I've got an idea for the paint job to make it look very cool. Other than that, I don't see anything else that needs to be done to it. Like I said, I can always get the missiles built up, and then I've also got to get the missile. Actually, that's another thing I need to do. I need the missile out here because it's already perfect as is. Let's see if I still got one. Nope, I have that nonsense. So, we'll have to take one of the wings there and just disconnect. Actually, yeah, I can just do that. I can just disconnect the whole thing. Problem is, the whole system will activate the moment it doesn't have anything detected, and I'll have to worry about that. But it'll be fine. Let's see if I can do that right now without accidentally activating. Well, that's interesting. Why is that there? Okay, let's just see what happens when I do this. Hey, yo. Yeah, hold still. Hold still, buddy. Hold still. All right, all right, all right, all right. Calm down, calm down, calm down. All right, we'll turn all that off. Warheads. Disarm, I believe, and gyroscope off. All right. So that should be everything. Let's go ahead and copy the missile. bring it down here. And that's the Mako, just ready, or Long Fang, fixing to be deployed. I'll probably blueprint this thing out after I paint it up, and then I'll have to reset the missiles back on to the new wings and paint everything up, and then put all the projectors back in place and hope to God everything works like it's supposed to. Oh, this has been fun, but it's almost over. I've about got this thing finished up, and it's almost ready to be deployed. Rexion, hey Badger, you can also use an AI defender and use a broadcast block to send a personal message when it detects an enemy within 2.5 kilometers away. What would that message be? The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows where it is because it knows where you are. Eric Evans, yep. Grexion again. I will have to take my leave now. Hope everything works out as planned for you, Badger. Yeah, I'm hoping it is too. Right now, the missile and everything is functional, like it's supposed to work. And from what I can tell, it'll be functional for this. I could probably, honestly, do a little bit more work to this thing eventually, and probably incorporate a few other systems. But if I do, I have to have an antenna for the broadcast controller to do that, and the little I could put a programmable block in there that will do automated systems, but I think I need a mod for that as well. So yeah, oh, I'm getting tired, and it's about 1:46, so I'm gonna have to check on some things, make sure nothing stupid's happening. But yeah, happy to have a live stream with you guys tonight. Glad we get the missile all figured out. I kind of halfway want to put a wing or something on it, just like some small winglets coming off the side, just to give it a little bit more terror. I don't know how to do that without compromising the rest of the missile, because I believe there's a battery under here, and I don't want to expose that too much. Oh well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Probably the next stream, we are gonna decorate this bad boy up, make it look better, make it look more efficient, and then decorate up the missiles, or decorate this missile over here, redo all the attachments, put the new missiles and wings that'll have all the fixings done to it, and then add, take away whatever I need to do to make this thing look a little sleeker. And once that's done, we will have the F-302 finished, and then it will go up on the workshop, and you guys can test it out. I might even try to jump into one of the streams and see if I can't get this thing looked at, because it's turning out really good. And the fact that the missiles work very well, just work very, very well. Now, how they work in atmosphere is going to be a fun one, because downward, I think they're going to be fine because they'll be pushing themselves towards the target and they move pretty easily. Um, as long as they're trying to hit something, they should be all right, because they're using Newtonian physics here, and they're fairly accurate missiles anyway. But we'll have that. We have the guns. Everything on here works so long as you got scripts running. Once the scripts are taken away, yeah, that's a problem. But anyway, folks, I am Badger Wild, saying thank you all for being here, and telling everyone stay safe and stay frosty while you're out there having your fun. And As always, I will see you all in the next live stream. Goodbye for now.